Hi and welcome, I'm Tom, your host, and this is the DROPCAST Movie Poster Podcast. This format is part of the Instagram blog Drop, and you can find us under @DropMacOfficial. We do reviews, news, and interviews that all have to do with the film business. And today, I have the pleasure to hear some behind-the-scenes stories from the three musketeers of Mondo, Garza, Mitch Putnam, and Rob Jones. This will be very interesting, nerdy, and fun, and I'm really looking forward to this. So stay tuned, head over to our Instagram profile @DropMacOfficial to follow along with the art we are talking about, or check us out on YouTube for the video version. So, welcome guys. As everybody can see here, we are just the three of us. Not Mitch couldn't make it, but he's here in spirit. We have a beautiful illustration by Rob. It's your own, right? You made that.
Well, me and Jim Davis.
Okay, there you go.
It was a collab. Yeah.
That's great. So
I heard Jim.
How's everybody doing?
It's Friday, so welcoming in a Friday, TGIF, as they say. As it goes.
Yeah, you guys have.
I forgot it was Friday. I totally forgot I had catfish today. It's
how's it, by the way? Are you still have days of the week, or too much working from home that you don't even know what day it is?
I guess maybe depending on how you wake up, it's a Friday or it's not, right? So today we woke up and it actually is a Friday, which is good. But yeah, Rob gets to look forward. He has his catfish on Fridays. That's his ritual. And yeah, I have a place that I eat. It's a local joint called Cilantro. That's my Cilantro Friday. So we all have our things that we all have to have something that gets us through, right? And that's what we have.
That's
right
great.
now.
Rob, do you catch the fish yourself, or?
Oh, no. You said to look forward to, and then on Saturday it seems less email comes in, so I realize that means it's a Saturday, and then my wife and I tend to just lay around like cats on a windowsill. It's really nice.
Yeah, I mean, laying around, that's what I'm going to do after editing all of this, and I got some papers to grade, but I think I might cut some time out to just lay around. I started watching Jiu-Jitsu, the new Nicolas Cage movie.
How
so far it was interesting. Let's put it that way.
I believe all of Nicolas Cage's movies are interesting.
Yeah,
I like that. It's one movie, right?
Yeah, it's
not
one
like a
movie,
series or
yeah.
anything like that. I like that you started watching it and then just stopped. You're gonna make it kind of a multi-part
yeah.
deal for one movie.
I mean, I started while I was eating, so I was like, okay, we still have some time before the interview starts, so I'm gonna start it, and then I'm gonna get back later after the interview and watch the rest. But so far, the action was okay. The action was okay. I think that's the only thing I can say about it right now.
Glowing review, my friend.
It's going to be a more detailed review later on, but people are actually looking, because I host a sneak preview here at the local IMAX, and I have this little group from all the people that go there regularly, and they were all looking forward to this movie, and we all hope that this movie is going to come at some point at a sneak preview. But I guess since the cinemas are closed again here as well, that's not going to happen. But yeah, speaking of cinemas,
I would have come out and just shown them Moonstruck and said, "Gotcha. Here's an actually good movie. Sorry. Hope you all like Cher."
I mean, they do.
Hope you all like people actually acting. It's gonna be awesome.
They're open for a lot of things. So we have seen a lot of shitty movies during the years, but it's still always also had some good ones, which we really enjoyed. I think last year, Green Book, people enjoyed Green Book very much. That was like one of their movies they really liked, and the one where I forgot what was called, the one with Michael B. Jordan where he plays a lawyer.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, and it's got Jamie Foxx in it.
Exactly. Just Mercy.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Just Mercy, yes.
So yeah, they enjoyed that. So that's the audience I have, and I enjoy it, and that I can bring them good stuff. But also I bring them because before we watch the movie, I do a little show, host a little bit, have some giveaways and stuff like that, and I always do poster of the week, and then I try to include every time a different poster artist from all over the world. So and I had when you guys had timed edition, for example, I put out also told them, hey, this is a timed edition, people, go get on it if you really enjoy posters. And I always try to get them with the line because most of the time when they get just a regular like one sheet poster, and most of the time they don't look good, and I think the majority are men that come to the sneak preview, and then they cannot really hang up the posters, and then I always like try to get them, hey, buy these ones. They're a little more expensive, but they are art, and your girlfriend maybe lets you hang them and stuff like that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it's always like a fun thing to see.
Well, thank you for spreading the good
I always
word.
try. Yeah, no, like for the podcast, we had a bunch of artists of viewers on for the latest even Murugaya, and we're going to talk about that a little later. But actually, what I do in the beginning most of the time is that I have like 3 posters of the artist that I want to talk about and like get a little conversation going. But this time I want to do it a little bit different, and I want to ask you, what is your favorite project over the years that you have worked on? And whoever has something in their mind, let me know and we can get going. Eric, you want to start off? Or
Rob? Rob's doing those goes. Let's see. I think, honestly, recently, a project that we really enjoyed was Murugaya. He's an artist that we reached out to a couple months ago, just being huge fans of his work, and we already have 2 Kubrick posters in the can with him, one of which has been released, another one is shortly, or is not far behind, but that one is, in particular, the Clockwork Orange that we released a couple weeks ago is one that I think the 3 of us were just completely blown away by. And as far as recent projects, that's one that really stands out to me, just because it's such a fresh take. We've done a handful of Clockwork posters in our years, and we love all of them, but this one was just kind of unlike any other that we had seen. So that's a standout one.
What was your part in the project there?
I mean, same as every other project, right? So we found Murugaya. I think I just stumbled across his work on Instagram, and then we shared it with Mitch and Rob, and we were all just like, yeah, let's reach out to him. And usually Mitch is the person to reach out to the artist and kind of initiate first contact. And we decide on a title of a movie to go for it on, and Murugaya said yes, sends over art, and honestly, it was perfect. And usually when it comes to art direction, it's just kind of me and Rob going back and forth, but there wasn't a whole lot, to be honest, with Charm. He kind of just nailed it off the bat.
And he was like, when we talked about the piece, he was like saying it was on his bucket list to ever have a poster with Mondo, so you crossed something off his bucket list.
That's awesome. I hope his bucket list is to keep working with Mondo, because we have a lot of plans.
It definitely is.
There's a lot more. Yeah, there's a lot more coming for sure. Like I said, we have another Kubrick poster that's right around the corner, honestly, and then some more beyond that. So we're really excited to continue working with him.
I don't know if I'm going to ruin anything here, but I talked to this guy. I'm just going to call him this guy, and he told me that he's collaborating with Murugaya on an interview. It's coming out next week, so I'm not going to spoil anything here, but just letting you know.
That poster's not coming out next week.
Okay.
Just to clarify, that poster, I'll break it here. Yeah, it's Murugaya and Matt Taylor are working together on a poster. I won't share the title, but
did he say the title?
No, he did not. He did not.
Okay, good.
We'll leave that out. But Matt and Murugaya are working on something together, and it's a perfect movie that matches both their styles, and can't wait to see what comes out of it.
Yeah, and Matt and I, we had I think it was Wednesday. Yeah, we had like a 3-hour chat. So it's going to be a 3-hour interview, and I think he broke the record for the longest interview. So it's really, really interesting to see.
Wow, that's the amount of time that Gilligan's Island tour was supposed to go on.
Yeah, I mean, I had it before. I had Mexifunk, Orlando Aracena. He was on. He was the record holder, but this interview was really fun because like he had so many interesting stories. My favorite one is the one where where Mark Hamill calls him up multiple times, and there's other similar cool ones that are really interesting. So if you want to have some good stories by a good storyteller, go check out that 3-hour podcast of ours.
Nice.
Yeah. Rob, what about you? What's your favorite project over the years? Or whatever you can think of right now.
I'll tell you one for recent, because it's today. Frank Zappa poster.
Okay.
I had a poster of Frank Zappa hanging in my bedroom in high school. It was Frank wearing socks, shoes, and underwear. And that was like the first thing I would see when I woke up for like junior year and senior year. And it's kind of weird. I get to make a poster for the guy.
Why?
That's like a nutty thing.
You didn't recreate it, did you?
No. The poster I had when I was in high school was Frank standing in this weird room full of foliage, just wearing skivvies and his shoes, looking cool.
Why did you pick the one you did with this print? Where's the difference here?
Oh, we got asked because there was a documentary made by a good friend of Mondo, Alex Winter. He's a great filmmaker, and he sewed together this amazing documentary from a treasure trove of archive material. I mean, Frank Zappa knew what he was doing was great, and he started filming it from the get-go. So they just had rooms and rooms and rooms of archive stuff. And I was just so excited. We wanted to help celebrate it, to not only to celebrate Alex making a new film, but also to celebrate Frank Zappa himself.
It's really fascinating, and we really do recommend checking out the movie. I think it comes out this week, like on VOD services and things like that. But the process of making it was a real labor of love for Alex. Like, I think he parsed through probably thousands of hours of just footage, and the kind of the way that it's presented is all kind of first person. So it's Zappa telling his own story. Like, it's a documentary about Zappa, but it's told from his own words, just through different footage and things like that. So it's a really unique take on a doc that you've never really seen before, and to hear it told directly from like the subject, it makes it a really interesting watch.
I can say this over the years, because I like Zappa quite a bit, but talking to people, I rarely hear people tell me they like Zappa. It's niche, but when people do, they never tell me they like him. They always tell me they love him.
Okay.
Like, if you're into him, you're really into him. It's either super hot or totally cold with him, I think, for
I guess I'm on the cold part, because I think that's not my type of music. Not that I have anything against Zappa or anything, but it's just simply not my type of music.
I just liked him. I just thought he was like awesome. He just looked like I don't know, Groucho with Anarchy like ramped up.
Okay, I'll take it. But yeah, it's like, this. I think maybe we're a different generation there of what we love. Eric,
really, with a Groucho reference, a different generation?
No, that's I know who Groucho is. So, but I meant like in terms of Zappa. So, but Eric, do you have kind of the same kind of, let's say, teenage experience in terms of posters on your wall?
I had a bunch of just skate posters on my wall. I grew up a skate punk kid, so I would rip out pictures from Thrasher and put those in, and different bands that I liked, or just recreate. And I'm sure Rob probably did this too, but I just had a big white piece of paper that I recreated all the bands that I loved, and I drew all their logos and just kind of hung that and tacked that up to the wall. So yeah, I mean, I didn't have nearly the larger than life kind of stars of the 70s and 80s that Rob grew up with. I grew up in the 90s. There's a little bit of gap between Rob and I, but I think we definitely had similar experiences for sure.
It's weird what guys always seem to make that weird band logo thing, and girls seem to always make that big collage of like headlines cut out of magazines with like positive adjectives.
Yeah, always stay positive. But I have to say, the posters I had on the wall back then was mostly sports posters. I was a big basketball fan. I had the Bulls, the 90s Bulls, different team photos. I had like a door size, like life size Michael Jordan dunking poster and stuff like that. So that was my room.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I at least had a Jordan poster at a time in my life as well. But I think once I got to middle school and high school, it was all just kind of music and
Yeah.
skateboarding.
I when I was like in middle school, kind of those years, I started collecting records. That was like my thing, and then I never had money for posters or anything, and I put everything into records, and I had that.
What was the first record you bought with your own money?
First record, I'm not sure. I think it was Africa Bambaataa, Zulu Nation. That was one of the first ones.
That you
Yeah.
bought? That was the first one. With
Yeah.
your own cash, you went.
Yeah.
This is the one. Like,
What about you, Rob?
I was wondering, how long did you save up for it? Was it something that was like an impulse purchase, or
No,
was it something
no,
you were
I
like,
knew I wanted that. I used to grow up a lot on hip hop. Like one of the other first records was like I had like the three I can remember definitely were like one of the first were Mos Def, Black on Both Sides, and Africa Bambaataa, and De La Soul, 3 Feet High and Rising.
That's a well curated. So how old were you? when you were
12,
buying these?
13, around there somewhere.
You were a cool 12-year-old.
I used to dig a lot of records. I used to have bunch of Ultimate Beats and Breaks, like the original ones where they had like 30-ish volumes with different breaks on. Because I used to b-boy when I was a kid, and at some point I had to decide either I'm gonna do breakdancing or I'm gonna do I'm gonna play basketball, and then I decided to play basketball, But from that time, I collected so many records, and I still got a couple of them because they're like some Ultimate Beats and Breaks number whatever, they are not available, or like only like $700-800 up, and at that time obviously I didn't have that money, so I got them from I think I got them from some website. I found them because somebody ripped it, and I downloaded it because I wanted to dance to it, and it was like some really cool tracks on there, and yeah, they were good times back then. I'll tell you.
I was like, I can't believe Mitch is missing this interview.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You
should. You've had Jock on the.
Not
show,
yet,
right,
not yet.
Tom?
But we talked. He's gonna come on.
Whenever you have Jock on, make sure this is a topic along the conversational path, and talk about his breakdancing.
All right, perfect. I'll definitely do that. Was Mitch also a breakdancer?
Oh, Mitch was a rave kid. I don't know if he was a breakdancer, but he definitely was a rave kid. And I just think he would be having a kick out of this conversation. If he were
Okay,
here.
that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some pictures of Mitch with the pacifier around his mouth. Crazy candy necklace. Looks like Jonah Hill with the Eminem haircut.
Oh my God, yeah. I used to I know in the 90s I had like the Nick Carter Backstreet Boy haircut.
I think we all.
Back in the 90s. I had
There you go.
It's awesome. It's so great. Look at my eyes sometimes.
Yeah, I used to let it grow when I was like, I think after I did a high school year close to Cleveland, and after that I let my hair grow out. Like I had like that was like in the 2010s, I think, when everybody was like doing like their side cuts and like had the man bun and everything. That's like basically I was that like 10 or 15 years earlier, and then that's like basically how I had it. Then I cut it off, and then everybody did it. So I was like, okay, I did it once, I'm good.
I had long hair, and then Metallica cut their hair off, and I said traitors, and I kept it.
On the basketball team, I was the whole team. Except no, I even had long hair back then. But everybody on the team had long hair. There was nobody with short hair. Everybody had long hair. It was like crazy. I don't know. And they were all metalheads. I think that's where it was coming from. But so.
That was my biggest dream. I came from a high school that had a hair code and a dress
Oh,
code.
they did? A hair code? That's crazy.
Oh yeah, yeah. The shtick was to grow skater bangs so you could pull your bangs back and go by the hair code. Then on the weekends, so we all had like reverse mullets. We all had like these giant bangs going down behind our chins. But as soon as I could get out, oh man, I grew out a mane. For as long as I had my hair, I enjoyed the hell out of it, dude. I drew that thing long the entire time. I thought I was in the cult. It was great.
It was. I always like, since I had it like very tight in a bun. It started like in the front. It kind of like was getting thinner, and I was like worried. And my mom, she's a hairdresser, and she said maybe you shouldn't pull it back so tight. And I because I never wore it open and like.
Oh geez.
Yeah.
So.
You're freaking me out. I feel like I should not pull my hair back as much as I
Yeah.
do.
I'll be honest with both of you, man. That's being mean to your hair. If you love something, set it.
I know, and then I cut it off, and now I just didn't do my hair today. That's why I'm wearing a hat. But because I'm very like vain when it comes to that, I'm not gonna go to school if my hair is not right. So I'm like, that's like a little OCD I have. But
What's your?
I was raised by Joan Crawford. I know what that means.
How old are you? If you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, I'm turning in 2 weeks. I'm gonna turn 34.
34. Okay, I'm 31, so we're closer in age. Cool.
All right.
All right. Not bad.
What? You're not older than 38, are you, Rob?
Oh no. I one time asked. I was sitting at SDCC talking to Eric and our buddy Billy. And I was asking them, hey man, for me, like old timey blues that's all scratchy and shit, that to me sounds like old timey music. What sounds like old timey music to you? And Billy said Led Zeppelin. And I went, wow, really? And Eric said, well, I was going to say Guns N' Roses. And then I just fell over from old age. I was like, Guns N' Roses sounds like some guy singing into a tin cup.
Wow.
It doesn't. It doesn't, but no.
But
no.
Eric, what's old timey music then for you? Let's ask you that question.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I don't think Guns N' Roses is old timey music. Like I'm not that, ignorant.
To be fair, the question actually was, what music do you first hear that you realized you have no connection to it? That you just can't get into that. You're like, this is so strange. I can't really, in your own like culture, going backwards. And for me, it has to go all the way back to the 30s or 20s as far as it sounds like, because even 50s stuff, I grew up in a time when there was like 50s revival, so that still sounded familiar. So 40s and 30s, far I had to go back. And Eric was saying for him, he only had to go back to 1990.
No. I agree with Rob. The 40s is where I probably just 40s and earlier is where I have no connection to. I mean, my wife is we love 50s kind of doo-wop music. So 50s is not, out of character for me. Obviously 60s not out of character, with the Beatles. I never grew into, like, I kind of skipped over Led Zeppelin and AC/DC and all that stuff. That I just kind of bypassed that. I can appreciate it, but it's just not anything that I have any emotional, connection to. But I definitely appreciate the music. But I mean, I would agree with Rob. Probably my cutoff is probably the 40s. If you were to play something from the 40s, I'm either not super into it or I don't recognize it just because I don't have any experience with it.
Wait,
but
I got a good example of that, dude. You walking up when at that retreat when I was sleeping, I had Pete Garza playing, and he's like, dude, I thought I was in the fucking Shining. I just
so
had
we
the phone in the cup, so it was its own speaker, so it was even more muffled and just creepy sounding.
Oh, no, to flesh it out, Tom, every year we kind of do like a company retreat and just kind of go out and talk about the year to come and stuff like that. And this was maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. And Rob and I were roommates and we were sharing a room. And the first night that we got there, we got to the location we were at. We unpacked and settled in. Then we were all going to go out and grab dinner. But Rob didn't. He was like, "No, I'm good. You guys go out. I'll hang back." So then we all go out to the cars, but I go back into the room to get something or to leave something or whatever it was. But lights are just completely dark, and then it's just the creepiest 20s or 30s. Just like it feels like it's coming out of like a big gramophone. It's like a big gramophone in the corner, and Rob is just this vampire who's retreated to his cave to like, I swear it was like this. But yeah, it was very, very creepy and super loud for someone that was trying to like rest and go to sleep. It was the creepiest, weirdest music at the highest volume.
I heard you didn't say about the volume before. I didn't think about that.
It was so loud.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, for me, I would say the same. I would like, I think 40s, like the music they had in the war. I think that's the kind of like I have no connection to, like this kind of sound, this
Yeah.
typical sound. But yeah, I mean, 60s soul and our rhythm and blues and stuff like that, and that's like that's what I listen to even nowadays.
That's what that.
And I wonder if that's because, I mean, I think for all, this is maybe a broad generalization that someone who's an actual music historian will roast me over, but I think like pop music started in the 50s, right? So that's probably why 50s is like the benchmark for, I think, most people. 50s and 60s is not out of the realm because they were making good pop music. But I don't imagine there was, pop radio in the 40s. Or the 30s.
Yeah, like Benny Goodman and, playing. Glenn Miller.
But I
You had the opposite of people singing Delta blues trying to express like the pain and suffering. You had people going, "Hey, everybody."
Well, I also think all of us are big movie buffs, right? So we have things like Back to the Future where half of the movie is set in the 50s. So you have the soundtrack to that era and that decade. So again, I think for the most part, everybody has a connection going back to the 50s at the earliest. I think before that, it gets a little dicey. You kind of have to seek it out and have an interest to kind of know anything.
I have to say, like, I love jazz, and I love like the swing jazz they had like in the 20s. That's also stuff I like though, but
that's true. That's true.
So
I got cotton candy in my veins. I just really like really poppy stuff.
It's all good. No worries. Okay. What I wanted to know though is also how did you guys get into this business? How did you get started? Did you study something in the art direction, or how did you get where you are right now?
For me, I have a really short path, right? So I went to college at a school called Texas State University in San Marcos, Texas. It's about a half hour south of Austin. I studied advertising and communication design, graphic design. And yeah, so it kind of lines up with what I'm doing now. But after college, I moved to Austin. I applied at a couple places, a few kind of ad agencies or wherever, just trying to find a job. And one of the places I had applied was to be an intern at the Alamo Draft House, which is a movie cinema. And I got a job as an intern in their graphic design department, and it was just a summer internship. It was supposed to be a couple months long, and I was just doing kind of bare, simple, template-y type stuff, kind of web ads and print ads and things like that, plugging in pictures for a template they already had. But as it went on, they kind of started trusting me to do a bit more of my own stuff. So for screenings, they might sometimes do specialty screenings where they have like, a paired food menu or drink menu or something. They're showing Ghostbusters and they have 4 or 5 items that match along with the movie. And I did a menu that looked like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. So they kind of they kind of started to let me expand and kind of flex my own creativity a bit more as time went on. And after a couple months, they were like, "Hey, we really like you, but I'm not sure if there's ever going to be a job." And I said, "Cool. Do you mind if I just keep hanging out?" I don't mind, and I'll cross my fingers and see if something opens up. And they said, "Yeah, sure." So I continued, and then it was kind of perfect timing because maybe like a week or so later, I was going into work one day and there was a job posting for Mondo, and I had been familiar with Mondo. I bought posters in college and stuff like that. Being a graphic design student, I was very aware of what the company was doing. So there was a job opening, and it was for administrative assistant, which is essentially whatever something that needs to get done. I was kind of the hired hand to get it done, and I applied and got the gig, and that was in 2011, so just over 9 years ago. And since then, I've just kind of been doing whatever needed to get done at Mondo. I started off just doing small design work, helping out in shipping, helping out with customer service, gallery placards and menus and stuff like that. And there came a point in time where I just kind of expressed a bit more interest in like, hey, I love the poster side of things, and I would like to kind of focus my attention and energies on that. And just started working closer with Mitch and Rob, and at the time Justin Ishmael, and just doing production management stuff, submitting submitting sketches and artwork to studios, relaying notes, print orders, and things like that.
So,
And then it came to.
no, go ahead. I thought you were finished.
Yeah. And then, over time, I got kind of like at the Alamo, I got more comfortable kind of sharing my own opinion on things like that. And I guess I did that enough and, wore the team down enough that they started coming to me for feedback and, asking what I thought about things. And that's that kind of led to where I am now.
So are you going to do something special for your anniversary?
We'll see. It was my 9-year last month, and it just kind of was quiet, and that's fine. I don't mind that. But
well, Eric, you know what they do for a 9-year anniversary, for a wedding anniversary, right? Nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just that I'm just stoked to be here. I love the company and I love what we do, and as long as I can keep showing up every day, I'll keep showing up.
But the big number 10, is there something going to happen for that? A special poster you always wanted to do?
Nah. I don't think
okay.
So. Nah.
I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna ask you again next year.
The most selfish thing you could think of doing that you're like, you know what, dudes? I don't care. I am making this.
We're already. Nope. We're already. I mean, I don't. No bullshit. No. Can we curse?
Yeah,
on
you
this?
can.
I'm sorry
you can. Go ahead.
Saying anything. Yeah. I mean, we do that already. If we want to make something, we have the privilege and we're lucky enough to be like, yeah, let's do it. And if I say I want to do something,
there's levels though. Let's put it this way: what's your equivalent of me going, "Hey, everybody, we're doing that Meet Me in St. Louis series. Here we go."
I mean, I did that a few years ago with Young Animal. A few years ago, there's this. I love comics, right? That's kind of where a lot of my interest and love lies as far as hobbies and things like that. And a few years ago, Gerard Way, singer in a band called My Chemical Romance, he's a really great comics writer.
Didn't he do the Batman Who Laughs? Or was it?
He didn't do Batman Who. He did a treatment for this Batman story that never actually got published, but he had put together an idea for a Batman story. But a few years ago, he launched this imprint at DC called Young Animal, and it's still going, and it's a great kind of side imprint, not unlike Vertigo, where they're doing just kind of comics that exist elsewhere off on the fringe ends of the DC universe. And I was a huge fan whenever that launched, and they launched with 4 titles. And I talked to Mitch and Rob, and I was like, hey, there's this thing called Young Animal. It's awesome. It's all curated by this guy Gerard. I'd love to do some posters for the titles, for the 4 titles. And they said, cool, go for it. If you're interested in it, go for it. And that's kind of the genesis of Mondo, right? It's just like, this is something that one of us is excited about, and we kind of just go and make it a thing. We did. If you couldn't tell from Eric's background, any sort of a comic book related initiative is most likely going
good to know.
It's not unlike what Rob just was relaying earlier about Zappa, right? He's like, hey, I like Zappa. This would be a fun thing to do, and we had an opportunity to do it. So, yeah, long-winded way of saying, I can't think of one specific example of like, hey, you know what? I really want to make this happen, because that's kind of our conversation almost daily. It's just like, this is kind of something we want to do. Mitch is doing that currently, and over the summer during Comic-Con, we announced this thing called Mondo Special Projects that we're partnering with Mike Mitchell, and we've only just announced it. We haven't really released anything under that banner yet, but that's all meant to be stuff that kind of exists outside of Mondo posters. There might be posters as well, but it's going to be kind of things and projects that are interesting and exciting to us that are not just kind of 2D artwork. And that's something that Mitch was excited about and kind of wanted to spearhead along with Mike Mitchell that they're working on, and we're super excited about the stuff that's gonna come out under that banner.
Cool. And Rob, same question to you. How did you start it? How did you get into all of this?
I took a breath
before Rob.
I was immediately what?
Sorry, I didn't mean to ruin your your
Step on the
narcissism.
joke, dude. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I was gonna say, and Rob's gonna hate this because he hates compliments, but I learned from Mitch and Rob. You know, I literally doing this job, I had the best mentors that you could. So just observing and watching how they talk, how they operate, how they think about things. You know, getting to take daily phone calls with Rob and talk about artwork is the best schooling that you could have. So yeah, Rob, go back to your narcissism.
But to be honest, actually, Mitch and I often say that we're both Danny DeVitos. We managed to make a good Arnold Schwarzenegger because Eric's really taken the best from us and removed the terrible parts.
Yeah, our joke between us is that they're both the devils on my shoulder. I don't have an angel in this fight. It's just two devils sitting on the shoulder.
Let me tell you a worse way of doing it. But no, long story short, I was good at drawing and did not think I could do it for a living. Turned out I could. And here I am today.
That's great. Did you study that, by the way, then? Or
just like Eric, I went to UT, studied advertising. Also went to Vanderbilt in Nashville, Tennessee, and studied English and classics, which comes into play every day, really.
There you go.
And that's about it. Oh, and I went to Savannah College of Art and Design for about, I don't know, a year, I think, and studied comic books.
Okay. And did you or are you releasing your own art in that way via only your website, or because I mean you have the great Instagram handle Animal Rummy, and I wonder where this comes from, but
yeah, that great handle. I never have to spell that on the phone at all. People are like, "Oh no, I heard you clearly. I know exactly what you said. Animal Rummy. No problem. Don't spell it out. Got it right here."
Come on, it's not that hard.
Oh, dude, I'm constantly. Plus, I got marbles in my mouth anyway. Oh no, that was actually obviously it's a children's card game, but my buddy Joey and I saw a pack of it at a drugstore after a night out, and we're like, and we called our drinking squad Animal Rummy. So all of us went out drinking together. And then later, I needed a website name. I was like, I got it. I'll rip off this thing.
What
we all think is
okay.
fun.
Okay, I was just wondering what your buddies are just going to take 10% or what their deal is here. I mean, it's just they helped you out.
And the genesis of Mondo was born out of the gig poster world.
Yeah.
You know, Rob cut his teeth on making concert posters, and 15 years ago or whenever it was, our beginnings are kind of nebulous. You know, Rob had the idea and pitched to Tim League and said, hey, if you're doing these, Tim League, the owner of the Draft House, and he said, hey, if you're doing these screenings and these event showings of films, can we hire an artist and do a poster for the screening, of Close Encounters, at the drawing a blank and Devil's Tower. So just applying the concert poster mentality to movies and movie screenings, and that's kind of how Mondo got started. So, Rob is the, brain trust of that as well.
But to be clear, Tim had already been making posters. He had made 4 or 5 screen print ones, but they were more kind of like flyers, I guess. And my whole shtick was like, hey, let's make something that doesn't even look like it's related to the movie, like a gig poster. He's like, oh, jeez. Well, if you can get people to say yes for this much money, because it was early days, they were struggling.
How was it?
And I was gonna say, thankfully, the biggest person I can say thank you to besides Jeff Bevito would be Jay Ryan. I asked Jeff Bevito, "Would he want to do it?" And he said, "Yes, sure." She asked Jay Ryan, and I was like, "Really? You think he'd say yes?" And he's like, "Maybe, I don't know."
Okay.
And I did, and he did. I couldn't believe it, and I was like, "Wow, I should apply to Harvard more often." So Jay, everyone's posters in that first series were really great, but Jay Ryan really showed where it could go with this. You just said it, Eric, and I told you, Space, Close Encounters of the Third Kind poster. It's amazing. It's just the amount of mashed potatoes with the fork going down it, that scene, which is really poignant because you'll never see that on an actual poster for the movie. But for fans of the movie, we all did it at one point in our life. after watching the film and had potatoes in front of us and went, "Oh shoot, man, I can do that."
Yeah, that's
Give me that gravy. It's good stuff.
yeah. I mean, that's what got me into like the poster world. Basically, that this alternative movie posters give me something from the movie that I love and reinterpret it in a different way and make me feel like more connected or more nostalgic to certain scenes. And
Jay Ryan was a master at that. Every one of his posters he's done for Alamo. I wish we had 100 more.
Yeah.
But he really does take that one moment. The best one, I think, is A Christmas Story. Of all the iconic stuff from that movie, he picked the one thing no one ever seems to remember, but it's so great. The Bumpus dogs stealing the turkey. Ruining Christmas. You're like, oh, yeah, I've been at a ruined Christmas. I remember things like that.
I mean, that's like basically what the movies do to us. Like if they are like original and have something that we can like empathize with and like have that feeling, and if the movie poster can give us that for the movies we love, I mean, what's more what that we need there?
Yes, that's why I love doing this.
Yeah. That's why basically I started this. I love like talking about art and talking about those different little details that come up. And it's been a great ride since the beginning of the year to do all those different podcasts and meeting all the cool people like you guys. So that's really a pleasure.
All right, well, Turnabout Intruder. What would be the one Mondo poster and artist pairing you wish we would do?
Okay. I can't say anything, right?
Yeah, sure. Say anything? That's what you're picking? Oh my God, what a turn! All movies.
Yeah, let me think. That's a tough question.
I'm just thinking about the Aaron Horkey say anything.
That's not what I'm talking about. But yeah, I would have to say it has to be something that is maybe not that well known, something more niche. Matt Taylor and I, we talked about Out of Sight the other day.
Ooh.
But he said it's a great poster. He couldn't do it better, but
I've heard a lot of people say that, and then they end up turning in like the greatest poster of their career. So yeah, they could, if Matt tried.
Yeah, if he. That's interesting. But yeah, so Out of Sight. I'm gonna go with Out of Sight because that's like that pops right in my head.
Yeah, I got lost for a minute thinking about saying anything. Jeez, I was thinking about what the poster would be. I was like, you know what? If it's just John Mahoney at the end of the movie, imprisoned in the yard, sitting at that table, just waiting, desperate because he thinks he's lost his daughter forever. God, it's a sad moment.
Yeah. Or
that over John Cusack holding the thing over his head. That's been.
Or what would be very interesting to see a poster of would be The Sims. Not a movie, but a game. Would love to see The Sims. The game.
Oh wow!
I mean, that's one of the games I always played. It was so much fun. Still, sometimes play today. I broke out the Galaxy's Edge edition the other day.
What was
There's
that
a Galaxy's
Sims?
Edge edition?
Yeah, it just came out like 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago.
That sounds awesome.
It was fun though.
Yeah, I mean maybe, man. I mean, we do video game posters as well, right?
Yeah.
And,
I mean, video games is the next
really...
big thing. I'd say that's like.
Oh, we have a great one on deck from Claire Hummel that we were working on. Hopefully, we'll release it sometime soon. But yeah, I grew up playing video games, and I love video. I still play video games, so yeah. Love doing posters for them.
What was this one game called? Commander Keen?
Commander Keen.
It's on DOS. It's like an old DOS game.
Mm-mm. No, I was a console kid, so I never played.
Okay, I'm a PC gamer.
Yeah. Gotcha.
But
Immortal X.
But speaking of console, what was the World Cup '94? Was it '94? Where you could do like on NES, where you could do like those crazy shots from half, like which automatically go into the goal. You know what I'm talking about?
I do. Yeah.
That would be a crazy cool poster, I'd say.
I would love to go back to those old sports games of the '90s. Yeah, that would be a lot. That'd be a lot of fun to go back to the kind of arcade style games.
Yeah,
That'd
that.
be
Oh yeah,
great.
make it. That would be maybe an interesting series. I mean, you can see that I've got different sizes of posters and like wall space is limited. That's why 24 by 30 by 36. That's like a lot of people. I actually had like I was selling a poster which was only 18 by 24, and this guy loved the poster, but he didn't take it because he only takes 24 by 36, and it's like, well, limited amount of wall space, so maybe 5x5s. People do 5x5s.
I'm actually having the same problem right now with collecting Safubi. There's two forms of
Yeah.
Hedra from my favorite place. One is 450 centimeters, and the other one's 350. And I've been just doing 450s because I don't want to break down. I figure if I just keep it to that limit, then that kind of cuts out me having to considering buying other stuff. You know, if I just narrow my focus, it saves me money in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, I just got this little guy here. I don't know if you can see him really great.
It's that baby.
Oh,
Is
the
that
child, yeah.
The child back there. Is that the
It's the
sideshow
sideshow
one?
one, yeah. The Hot Toys one is not shipping yet, I think, but the sideshow one is like getting out there, and it just got here on, I think it was it Wednesday or Tuesday? Tuesday, I think it was, yeah. And I had like a little mishap. I did an IG live unboxing, and I took everything out and I put it like right here on a chair, and I had like they had like styrofoam, and like the foot of the statue is really heavy, probably like 10 pounds or something like that, and I hold it up in a styrofoam, and it's half of the styrofoam, and then it you can see it in the video pretty good. It rolls out and falls down, and it falls right down. And I was like, you can hear it, and I was like, oh, I was saying, oh, and then turn it back to the camera, and basically saying, oh, that was close. And I was like, I played it cool, like show must go on style. and then later on in the video, I'm showing like close-ups, holding it to the camera and stuff, and talking. Could feel my toe. It fell on my toe. And then I was sitting down and I looked around like this, and I was like, oh, there's blood all over the floor. And my
This is not where I thought it was going.
my sock was drenched in blood. My toe was like oh, and then I was like, oh guys, okay, you've seen it all, I gotta go. And then I stopped the IG live, and I took off the sock, and like my toe looked pretty bad. I was like, yeah.
What are you doing? You should have kept it filming. That's like,
I'm gonna get censored on IG, man. They're gonna cut me off.
it doesn't matter. It's like you seriously had a camera and went, "Oh, excuse me, folks. Kennedy's being assassinated over here, so we're just going to get camera away."
Yeah, but it's like when I tell the story and people rewatch the footage, they can actually see the moment where I realize that I'm bleeding pretty bad.
Have you ever seen that amazing story from Alex Pardee about that crazy fan that went to one of his signings?
No.
Okay. He has pictures of this on his blog. It's amazing. This guy came up to him, said, "Hey, I love your artwork." And Alex is like, "That's great, man. What do you want me to sign?" And he opened up his shirt, and he took out a box cutter and just slit his stomach in front of us.
What?
And blood poured right on the floor. And
Oh my
the security in the book, remember, this isn't bank security. This isn't fairground security. This is bookstore security. They're not prepared for like some half-assed seppuku going on
Wow.
in front of like guests. But luckily the guy was just zoned, so they were able to escort him out. And then Alex immediately got next to the blood and did a, photograph.
Wow. Okay. I mean, that he could do that. That sounds very traumatizing, but.
Is,
Oh, that's awesome! That's a man. Oh, dude, check it out. I have my coast was just me next to some nice roadkill squirrel I found one time. My buddy's one.
There you go. Yeah. A friend of mine, he's like, oh, like he always like, we have this like little fantasy football group where we like it's a home league. We've been playing for 11 years, and he sends always like when he finds like dead animals on the floor, he did like takes pictures. There was like a mouse, for example, and he's like, oh, look at here, 5 of the mouse detective and stuff like that, and like puts things like that on there and like makes up little stories. It's always so fun.
I met this lady at Leo Burnett. She was awesome. She had a thick notebook, and all it was, every time she saw roadkill, she had in her car, in her glove compartment, the same camera, like this really nice camera, and a posable Gumby figure. and she would just put Gumby on it and doing some horrible things. Like she said, you had to wash it a few times.
Oh my god!
And it's just notebook after notebook of these just crazy dead animals with Gumby just going all over them. She'd been doing it for like 40 years. It was like crazy. It was like a crazy.
Okay, that's interesting. Maybe that's a new the Mondo book. Mondo Gumby doing work.
Actually, now you say it, I should track her down. That would be.
There you go, 10%. I'll take it.
I'll put you in the thing.
Thank you.
I used to take photos in our gallery whenever our friend Justin Brickhart was with the company, and he was in charge and kind of led all of our shipping operations and stuff like that. And I would just take photos of him when he was doing anything but shipping, and just always threatening to start a blog of just Justin Brickhart not shipping .tumblr.com. And it would just be all photos of him just kind of sitting there next to a stack of posters, eating a banana or something like that. But it reminded me whenever we were talking about just putting Gumby in different situations, because I had a lot of pictures of. I think that ended up changing into just. We now have this our dear friend David Rankatori, Rank, as he's known affectionately, is the strangest and most wonderful human that I've ever met. Probably alongside Rob. And
no, he beats me.
We started this hashtag on Instagram called Rank Things, and I'm going to encourage everybody, if you're here, if you're watching, to just search out hashtag Rank Things, and it's just again this wonderful human in the most bizarre. The way he works and the situations and the positions that he puts himself in to just sit there and like look at an Excel spreadsheet are just fascinating to look at. But yeah, I think that JB not working turned into just like, hey, here's David being David, and let's catalog that as well.
But yeah, speaking of books, by the way, I if you have seen my podcast, I always like do like a question, which I don't do with you because it's because it's an artist question, and I mean, I could do it with Rob, but Eric couldn't do it probably. But
he's an artist. I've seen his drawing of Kane. He's good.
I don't know. I don't know how like are you releasing stuff, Eric? Let's put it this way.
Eric.
No.
Show him that chess piece you drew. Open your shirt.
It's annoying. No. I am not anyone that sells their own work. Any and all creative work that I do is mainly just dumb manga graphics.
But here was my idea. I still want to do it, but maybe you want to help me realize it. The thing is, because I'm asked the question all the time, what classical artist would you like to see make a movie poster? And then what movie would it be, and which IP? And there's been a couple times people say, for example, Caravaggio doing like Avengers Endgame. And I got all like the latest interviews. I got everybody to commit that they are going to do the artist they said, the style of the artist, and do the poster they said. So Oliver Barrett said, I think it was Kandinsky or something, like some Cubist artist. And he wanted to do Mad Max. So he's going to do 24 different brown squares on a poster and call it Mad Max.
This is a fascinating idea, and I really, really like it.
Great. Okay, so if you could help me make this happen. I mean, I have lots of people agreed to do it, so I got it on camera. It just needs.
Oh, Eric, do you got one?
I'm thinking. Do you have anyone?
Gustave Doré, Hereditary.
There you go. You're in the book now.
Surat.
Ooh.
Before sunset.
Okay, interesting. Then yeah, okay. I hope you can replicate the style, because that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, we just
committed
ourselves.
I forgot what Akiko's podcast is going to come out December 9th, and she said something really time-consuming. I think some pointism, and yeah. So but she committed to it. She said, "That's a challenge. I'll take it."
Hey, Eric, what was that troll movie that came out at the beginning of COVID?
Trolls World Tour.
Yeah, Rauschenberg.
There you go. But yeah, so that's the idea, and I think that would be a cool book. Artists doing different kind of styles and like having fun with different media, like different materials and ways of doing things. So, if you could make it happen, I would love to do this with you guys.
Yeah, we should. Let's talk. I mean, there's a lot of potential hurdles with actually doing, you know, movies, right? But yeah, I mean, the idea itself is really fun. I like it a
Do
lot.
they have to be dead artists or
We said
living artists?
no.
Or can they be
I always say classical artists, and I was like thinking more in terms of when I said it the first time, I was thinking more of like Picasso or like those kind of people that are famous for doing something totally different, but putting that into a movie poster would be interesting to me. So that's the kind of question I did. But if the artist is still alive, that would be interesting to see. But I'm not that good with like super modern artists, but I know my way around, especially the older ones.
What would you have Picasso do?
Let me think. I would love to see. I'd love to see Matt.
Battletoads.
The Sims.
The Sims, exactly. I mean, you get the little diamond on top, so yeah, we can do that. But no, I was thinking maybe like an Avenger, every character in piece.
I was thinking about Endgame too, but I was thinking Yoko Ono. I thought I know for legit, but I realized we might be able to just hire her. She might be game. She don't need the money.
There you go.
She was like, here you go, here's my idea. It's a bag of confetti. Exactly. Think about it. I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Alrighty, yeah. So, speaking of movies, though, I wanted to know what was the last movie you saw? Can be in a cinema, can be obviously at home.
The last movie I watched, I've been watching a lot of West Wing. For the first time, I never watched
such a great
West
show.
Wing.
Love that show.
Man, I'm loving it. We're just about to finish. My wife and I are about to finish the first season, and we absolutely adore it. But so that's kind of what's been on rotation nightly in our house. But the last movie we watched was 2 nights ago. We watched New Mutants, the movie that I and the world were waiting 4 years to see. And I'll tell you, there's a good movie somewhere in there. It didn't quite make it to screen. I enjoyed it, but that to answer the question, that was the last movie I watched, and for the most part, I enjoyed it. I think it could have been better.
It had potential, definitely, and I was like, when I saw it, I was like, well, there is something there, but why? It kind of felt like they ran out of cool ex people.
See, I disagree because again my background is in comics, so I love those books and I love kind of Bill Sienkiewicz doing all that. So I love magic.
I love the books as well. The comic books, like the latest run, was it a Runaways run? I think the Runaway one, 2015, 2016 or something like that. I loved it. I loved the whole show with the I forgot the villain's name, who played everybody, but yeah. But it was a good comic book run. I loved that one. And then I was like excited for New Mutant, and I thought it was like basically, okay, this is a knockoff of this guy, and this is a knockoff of that guy, and I was like, meh.
Fair enough. You know what? It's funny, right? Because I think I was on a text thread with some friends, and I was like, the graphics were really good, and then they were like, yeah, they had 3 years to render it. But that movie looks really, really good. Like all of the effects in that look like the demon bear looked amazing.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that was the last movie I watched. Here at home, the last movie I saw in theaters was Sonic the Hedgehog, which is a better movie than you might expect it to be.
I was
so check out
positively surprised.
I was very entertained by Sonic.
Rob, how about you?
Last movie I saw in theaters was Invisible Man.
Good choices.
Ms.
Great
Moss.
posters you did, by the way.
Yes, that was a great movie. Elizabeth Moss is fast becoming someone like, oh, she's in it. Great, I'll watch.
Yeah, there's definitely top 10 movie of the year. I mean, there's not that much that came out, but definitely it's up there.
She's in
I don't know the
Elizabeth
name of the last
Moss.
movie I watched. Okay.
Elizabeth Moss is in West Wing. She's the president's daughter.
Yeah,
What?
I think I remember that.
You finally found a way to get me to watch. Bravo! Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah.
That's exciting. Last movie though I watched, I have no idea what the name of it was. Some rom-com with Rachel McAdams, I think. My wife will watch things. I will try not to get into them every once in a while. It's pretty good. I might go.
But it wasn't.
Is he kissing her now? Oh my god!
Rachel
It is,
McAdams.
but it's not about time, is it?
No.
Yeah, it's
time.
where's the poster for that, by the way? There you go.
I know, right?
Would super do the thing with comedies and dramas, not necessarily dramas, but comedies, and I know that movie's not a comedy, but like romantic comedies are hard to do. It's hard to do a good poster for that, which is why we've never really done a lot of comedy
Palm
films.
Springs was doing well, right? Palm Springs
that?
was doing well, right?
Yeah, but Palm Springs, you would there's a bit of a genre element to that, so you had great kind of imagery and themes that you could pull into that, but just like a straight comedy poster, like I think we could probably count on two hands how many we've done, but like Bridesmaids and the National Lampoon's movies, but like unless there's a really iconic and recognized scene, it's kind of just hard to do posters for those.
But I think
And the other thing about Palm Springs though is it's a comedy, sure, but you really feel those two people are in love. You really root for them. It's a relationship. And also it happened to benefit from mirroring exactly what we're all going through with every day going into the next. Yeah. I mean, what a weird, perfect time.
I love that movie. Yeah, it was also top 10 movie.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And not to take away, I mean, obviously Matt was a huge part of just cracking that nut, being able to put together a piece of art that is like, yeah, it captures the kind of emotional resonance between the two characters, but also there's weird cosmic dinosaurs in the background. The time travel elements of all that as well.
He was on a
podcast
podcast for it, and we had like a really, I think it was like 45 minutes in-depth talk just about that poster. So he gave a great breakdown of it. And but I was thinking maybe comedy, old school.
But like what?
Maybe Will Ferrell streaking.
I'm not the biggest fan of old school, but you know what? Who would kill an old school poster? Leslie Herman. Leslie Herman would absolutely crush a poster for old school.
All right.
We have a Leslie Herman poster coming up that is actually for a comedy.
There you go. Yeah. There you go.
Can't tell you what it is, but you will be like, I promise you, it's a movie you love.
And actually, I'm contradicting what I said earlier, but Leslie Herman is also, again, maybe you just need to find the right artist that can make it work. But between Idiocracy, Raising Arizona, he's absolutely making great comedy posters.
Because he's able to put enough gravity into it. He's able to make just his style has enough, I don't know the word, but seriousness to it, enough art in it. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's like we hired someone who does like New Yorker cartoons to make posters and just succeeds amazingly.
Yeah, there's like a point of view to it that it's not just like, here's that funny scene, like it's I don't know.
He said like 6 or 7. We wanted to make all of them. We couldn't. We had
okay. I'm looking forward to it. So what is your guys' favorite movie? And did you do a poster for that then? I mean, since I don't know, I couldn't tell, but
my it's always hard to answer that, but my default answer to that question is always just Kill Bill. Kill Bill is a movie that I'll watch anytime it's on, and just love it from top to bottom. So yeah, Kill Bill, and Tyler Stout already did the perfect poster for it.
All right, there you go. Rob, how about you?
I'd say Seven Samurai, and we have yet to make one. But if it was just like a range of movies, I'd say Cruising. We've made a poster for that, which bizarrely features in Silicon Valley every season. It's the strangest of all Mondo posters. They ended up like featured in a TV show that seemed an odd one. And Cool Hand Luke, we made a poster for that.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Seven Samurai, I would jump on that, man. That Seven Samurai is one of my favorite movies. I have it also a default answer, by the way, Eric. It's always Star Wars Empire Strikes Back for me. So
Empire, good choice.
I want to say Godfather, but everyone says Godfather, like, because it's so great. But we did like a great poster of that. Oh my God, I just realized Jeff Kleinsmith did posters for all three of the movies I mentioned.
Yeah,
but
did they go ahead and Luke?
Did some?
Shoot. We need IM to do Seven Samurai, dude. That's it. There he goes.
I was just wondering, did somebody do Goodfellas? A good Goodfellas poster?
Mark Aspinall did a Goodfellas poster for us that we loved.
Okay. Because I can't remember right now.
We did that at Mondo. We did that at MondoCon, I think 2017.
Okay.
So 2-3 years ago. Yeah, it's the scene where he's beating up the dude outside the car. And Aspinall just like, it's super visceral poster. It's gorgeous. And then at the bottom of the poster, we couldn't put a credit block on it, but we had this kind of brilliant, I think it was Mark that had the idea of just putting the testimony from his girlfriend of just her quote about, man, I'm completely just drawing blanks on everybody. Anyway, it's his girlfriend's testimony about sorry, the guy. So
yeah.
Actually, I think that might have been Jay who did the quote at the bottom. And the interesting thing about that poster too was we had Henry Hill's face.
Henry Hill, thank you.
And they said we thought Ray Liotta's likeness was going to be allowed for some reason, and they're like, nope. And so Mark had to figure out a great solution. He had this hand come up, and for the guy who's beat the crap out of to kind of push at Ray Liotta's face to obscure it just enough. We still have the eye, we still have the mouth, but just enough that they let it go through.
All right, good. That's a good call on that one. Other question though, since we're on posters, I was wondering, what are your favorite posters as of right now? Do you have any? Like, could be more, could be one. What would we say? This is the one that sticks in my head right now. This is the must-have poster.
I just bought a World War II propaganda
poster.
Nice
one.
Yes, says "Keep pitching with both hands, brother."
But it's the American version, huh?
Yes. And it has a gentleman in red pajamas, and he has both his hands amputated off.
Okay.
And I can't tell if it's supposed to be us talking to him or if he's talking to the viewer.
Okay.
But either way, it's horrifyingly sad.
Crazy.
So basically it's a thing to look at, and you're like, well, at least I'm not that guy. Shit. And just keep on going. Or just take the advice. I will keep pitching with both hands.
Yeah.
It's like my version of the cat hanging from the tree. Like, hang in there. Except this guy is incapable of hanging in there, unfortunately.
But yeah, it's like, because I grew up in East Germany, and we have like a bunch of museums around here that have all like those old socialist propaganda posters, which are like really inspiring, really great to see. And like when I talked with Justin and Paige about from PCC about their posters, because like they had I forgot which one it was, but it had very like this socialist propaganda style incorporated in their posters, and it was like really interesting to see, and also some really cool stuff. Eric,
I think it's just a result. Anytime if you're an artist, so anytime you go to any museum or any display of old posters, especially, I cannot wait, by the way, to go to Poster House in New York City. Every display they keep, every show they keep advertising about. I'm like, ugh.
It's been great.
Especially in quarantine, they're putting together these.
It's been great. I've been there last year, so that was like really fun to see.
Oh,
it was awesome. There was so much cool stuff, and I went also Poster House, and then I also went to the Society of Illustrators, or was it at Poster House? I don't remember, but I think they have also really cool stuff at the Society of Illustrators museum there. So that was really cool to see. Really different styles, different years of posters, and interesting stuff. Even some German stuff. So that was like cool to see again.
Did they have originals at Society? Did they have like something like a Hirschfeld or anything weird you could see up close?
They had not that one, I think, but they had a couple original ones, but I wasn't familiar with. But it was interesting to see, definitely.
So I think I know like about museums, you don't get to see as much pen and ink work as I'd like to really see it up close to see what the controls like. If you ever get to see a Hirschfeld, there's an amazing one here in Austin at the LBJ Museum. It's of Lady Bird, but it's done in the 60s, and it's I don't know. I can't put it into words. The one thing I can compare it to is when you see a Dali
Yeah.
in person, and you can't believe how flat everything is. It's like he just painted it with like a computer or something. It's like maybe a little bit of raised paint on a knife glint, but Hirschfeld, it's crazy.
Okay.
You get a chance to see it up close. It's something that gets completely lost once they reduce it down.
Yeah. Okay. I see. That's interesting. Yeah. I mean, we have a bunch of very good museums with like older artists and also some expressionist artists, and it's like really interesting to see. And I went to the Picasso Museum in Barcelona. That was also really cool to see his different styles through the years, and or at the Prado in Madrid, having Goya. Really cool Goya stuff that is also really impressive. But
Did you like, speaking of classic artists' movies, did you like Tomer's Goya Fight Club that he did?
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
That seems thematically like a perfect match, but I don't know. It seemed like there's something I wasn't quite into.
Yeah.
It was something I wanted to be a bit more bloody.
Yeah, I wasn't like super, like, you know, I was like not like, yes, I love this, I need this in my life. I was like more, yeah.
I'm glad it happened. That's the thing. I was glad I was able to see it. That was very interesting to see that. It's like an experiment you had. Like the Traven Wilburys.
Yeah. Okay.
Another 90s reference.
Eric, how about you?
I'm still just tail between my legs, and I couldn't remember Henry Hill or Ray Liotta from that fucking Goodfellas example. So, pardon me.
Or Karen Hill.
Or Karen Hill, yeah. Jesus. Anyway, I don't. My favorite poster right now is probably earlier at the start of the pandemic. Land. Dan Black and Jessica Siemens. They put out this 18 by 24 poster that just has the word fuck repeated at every which way. And if you're familiar with Dan and Jess, they just have some of the best typography skills in the game. So it's just like literally hundreds of the word fuck written in different styles. And then you could customize it, and they left like a little blank square in the center where you could just like, what do you want us to write? What do you want us to hand embellish? And I had them write anxiety because fuck anxiety, and that's probably my favorite poster for the last couple months.
That's a great choice. Do you have it hanging?
Wait,
do you have it
What's
hanging
that?
already, or?
I don't have it hanging. I want to put it up, but no, right now it is not hanging. But it'll probably go up somewhere here in the office once I get a frame, or I'll just swap out a frame. Yeah, I don't buy a lot of posters, honestly. Nor do I have a whole lot of Mondo posters hanging up in our own house or in my house. You can behind me, I do. You can see the Captain America we did. But mostly what I have hanging up are either art prints or originals from different artists that we work with that I've been lucky to kind of amass over the years.
It's was that different when you were like younger? Like, did you have more movie posters at that time, or was it always art prints?
I definitely went through the movie poster. Like, in college, I knew Mondo, and so like I had one sheets and stuff kind of hanging up. But I think since actually working on a lot of the posters, I just don't have them. We spend a lot of time with them, and I think they're all great. But I just don't have a lot hanging up. I have a couple hanging up, but I think it would be fewer than people would probably expect as far as like what I have actually from Mondo. But like I said, yeah, it's a lot of it is just originals from artists that we work with. So it's all people from the scene, but it's not really Mondo stuff.
Okay, so yeah, it's basically the same people, but something more personal in that terms.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So I have one of my favorite things is I bought one of Sunny Day from We Buy Your Kids. I bought one of his paintings at a gallery that we did, and that's hanging downstairs, kind of next to the TV. And I have a Matthew Woodson original. He's probably my favorite illustrator. So I have one of his downstairs as well, along with a couple of his art prints. Just kind of that apocalyptic world that he puts out and kind of spends time in. I have a few of those. I have some Robs hanging behind me. big fan of Rob's work as well. So yeah, that's kind of the most of the
What
stuff.
what does your partner think of this in terms of like, is she like, does she love the poster, or she just more wants the art side of like what's
No, she loves it. She loves it. And I'm lucky in that sense. She loves all the artists that we work with and all the artwork that we have. So, and she just appreciates art in general. So I'm very lucky that she's like, no, she's game for anything. So I kind of relegated all of the comic and hardcore nerd stuff to my office here. So like next to me, I have. I don't know if I can turn my computer here. No, it's going to knock some other stuff down. But I have Mike Mitchell, one of the Marvel bastards that he did, and the top half is Wolverine and the bottom half is Iron Fist. So, yeah.
Wait,
and then,
can you get that giant Buscema Silver Surfer you got? Can you tilt it over there?
that is in the other room.
Oh. Dude, he's got this amazing Buscema that's like 2 feet by 3 feet.
Yeah. So
Done in mirror pin on plutonium. It's so rare.
Yeah, it's a long-winded way, but a lot of the stuff that I have up is all just originals or random art prints. And then to answer the question, like, yeah, no, my wife is super supportive of it and loves it all as well. So, we have some of the 59 Parks posters in the downstairs in the kitchen. So trying to be a bit more, I think, moderate for the more open area rooms of the house, rather than I'll put that in the office rather than in the living room.
Yeah, I was like that. That's basically what I did, because I have, like, behind me you can see the movie posters more, and then I could show you later. But over there I have like an architecture wall. There's only architecture prints, or they have like landscapes or cityscapes in there, and I think that's more like more suits more the whole style. But this is basically my work area, and I have like a big living room, so it's like where everything is in. But yeah.
Yeah, that's a Flash Gordon, right?
What's that? Yeah, that's the Matt Ferguson, Flash Gordon.
Nice.
I'm happy for anyone who keeps the cult of Flash Gordon alive. The Dino De Laurentiis Flash Gordon cult alive. Although the Flash Gordon is false Flash Gordon.
There's like a really, really interesting story with him. I don't know if you know, but he was basically, this was the first movie that he saw, because it was like a free TV premiere in the UK. And his father and mother, they were watching it, and then he was born at the house while the movie was on. So the first thing he saw was the movie. So,
well, a baby when it's born can't really see much.
But yeah, you know, come on, But yeah, so this is basically his story. He always wanted to do it, and then with this story, I think you have a good chance of doing that.
By the way, Charlie's Angels is playing in the hallway when my mom gave birth to me, so there you go.
So, is there a Mondo Charlie's Angel piece?
Well, that'd be awesome, actually.
Yeah, that'd be great.
There's plenty of photographs of us doing this, but that's about it.
That's great. But yeah, Rob, how's it for you and at your place in terms of collecting? I mean, it seems like you collect various of things.
No, I'm like Eric. I haven't bought many posters. In fact, like Eric, I bought that Land poster as well. Myself and Mondo alum Justin Brookhart both chose the exact same thing for the center. Ours was fuck everything.
There you go.
Apparently, that was a popular choice.
I mean, if somebody would do it today, it would be 2020 probably.
Yeah.
But no, my office is a wreck. I just have to clear out the area that people can see, and that's about it.
Okay, I see.
I don't really go in and I don't know.
How's the wife with the collecting?
As long as it's something she likes. So she likes Judy Garland, so that's good.
All right, I see. Well, what else?
She likes horribly dark things like I do, so it's to me going, hey, how about this poster of the guy with his hands cut off? She's like, awesome. How about in the hallway?
There you go. I would love to have it in the guest bathroom where people wash their hands, so they had to look at it.
There are some horrifying things in my guest bathroom.
I was gonna say,
sure.
Rob's got some all-timers in his guest bathroom.
What is it?
I'd rather not say.
Okay.
Yeah, next time you're in town, you can wash your hands and see for yourself.
I will do that. All right. I'll hold you to it. Now I want to know.
I'll tell you two things I do have in there. I do have a drawing of myself as a log by Florian Bertmer,
Okay.
and a drawing of scattered sleeping pills by Randy Ortiz from Dead Ringers.
Yeah.
Artwork. So,
Okay. That sounds very good. Now I want to see the rest though, but we will find out. Okay. I wanted to know what was the last piece that you guys put up?
Mondo?
No, in terms of what did you put up at your house? Like, what was the last framing?
Mine was the two Rob Griefs that I have hanging behind me, because previously it was a mirror, and the mirror was catching the new ring light that I bought for this interview. So I had to pull the mirror down and put something in its place, and right now it is Rob's Griefs.
Thank
I
you.
knew something. This is like going, are you dyeing your hair? No, it's always been this color. What are you talking about? Something's different. He looks really well lit. You ring light mud. I bought a Judy Garland poster.
Judy Garland poster. Okay. What for?
Meet Me in St. Louis. It's an original Japanese poster for Meet Me in St. Louis from its first release there in 1951, which is strange because Hiroshima and Nagasaki wasn't that long ago, and it is a really American movie. I mean, it's like bizarrely American.
Yeah.
And that's apparently what was let off, but it took because there was actually a big cult for Judy in Japan. There's a lot of albums that they had to remix that's the best versions to get are the Japanese versions. Not from the vinyl quality, from the actual mix itself.
Yeah, okay. And how do you like the film, Judy, by the way?
I liked it. It was sad. It wasn't that much of a fun experience for me. I saw it twice.
Okay.
But it's like I have to go and watch someone that I adore be tortured and feel terrible. So it's kind of like, I don't know, not a great time at the cinema. I'd rather go watch a Disney film.
Okay. Understandable.
Or, frankly, I'd rather go watch a Judy Garland film. I'd rather go watch one of her films. But Renee did an amazing job. A lot of times, I felt like I was watching Judy. I mean, she did pretty perfect.
Yeah, it was a perfect movie for that role.
Off, but the thing is, I think her singing was actually very accurate to the period. It's just, what are you going to do?
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think so. She was perfect for the role, and I think it was like perfectly written for the role for Judy, and she portrayed it in a way that she definitely deserved that Oscar.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she fooled me. Every once in a while, I'd be like, oh, that's right.
It's not Judy.
Yeah.
But it's Judy. But yeah. Okay. Now I want to get more into like your Mondo work. I was wondering, can you say something? I mean, we heard a couple pieces that you're working on, but is there something you can tease or give us an exclusive?
Hey, Eric, why don't we just go ahead and say what Claire's working on? Just say it. Because we're not showing it.
So we still have the podcast is going to come out next week or maybe the week after. So there's still some time until then. So
here I'll tell you this. When is this going to air, Tom? Is this going to air? And do you have a date?
I haven't said it yet. It might be next week on Thursday the 26th or December 3rd.
Okay. Here's two things that we're pretty excited about that I don't think will come out before this airs. So earlier in the year, we had planned to have a gallery show with We Buy Your Kids, and that ended up not panning out because of obvious reasons. So we've just been, over the course of the past couple months, putting out just new work by Sunny and Biddy of We Buy Your Kids. And we have one coming out this week, which by the time this airs will have already been released. But it's an amazing poster for a Clockwork Orange that we are shocked got out and thankful got out. But by the time you're watching this, that will not have been a surprise. So we have two more posters by We Buy Your Kids that I think we're going to try and get out before the end of the year for Bill and Ted.
Oh, that's cool.
and they're great. They're one for Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and one for Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, and it's like some just note perfect. You know, I think We Buy Our Kids can crush any movie that they take on, but this one in particular is really just kind of a note perfect pairing, and super love what they did.
I have to say, I have to say that they're I love their new Frank Lloyd Wright series. The house they did, that's, oh my God, that's just amazing. I love the artwork. I have, since the architectural, there's a lot of from the Frank Lloyd Wright series that is up here. And the We Buy Your Kids, the new one is amazing, but the old one as well.
There's some of our favorites, man. And again, kind of like Miragaya, like we were talking about at the start of the show, like you just never know what you're going to get until it comes in your inbox. And more often than not, it's just like a holy shit. Like, yeah, this is perfect. I don't know what's going on in the brains of you know, Sunny and Charm, and but it's you know, whatever it is, it's amazing.
I was asking.
It is really weird. We have two such crazy, unique, and perfect posters for Clockwork Orange so close to each other. I mean, it's kind of nuts. These are way out there, but again, perfect. I mean, amongst my favorite Clockwork Orange art ever of all time. That's great.
Yeah.
I would bring it back to Tomer up there for me with Tomer's freaking Clockwork Orange poster.
Yeah, I was,
but it's an amazing poster. I have it.
I was asking Charm, by the way, like at the end, or at the beginning. I don't know when it was, but what are you smoking? But he said he doesn't. He doesn't. So, but
yeah, it's just great, man. It's just the creativity that's kind of living in the heads, but yeah, so those are things that we're really excited about that are just, you know, right around the corner as far as coming out.
Okay, so what else I wanted to know was what does like a regular day at the office look like, if there's office hours actually? I mean, home office probably is different.
Right now, yeah. Right now, you know, since March, really, we've all been working remotely, I think, like a lot of the world. So regular days, you know, kind of are amorphous at the moment. You know, I think it's waking up and there's daily meetings, you know, checking in on just state of affairs and things that are coming out, you know, this product releases or, you know, marketing stuff or whatever. So honestly, it changes from day to day. Speaking for me in particular, talking with Mitch and Rob all the time. You know, Rob and I talk a lot during the day shift, and then Mitch is a night owl, and Rob in a lot of ways is a night owl as well. So Rob's the poor schmo that it ends up being a 24-hour gig for him, where he's, you know, handling the day shift with me and then the night shift with Mitch a lot of the times. But yeah, I mean, the three of us just kind of talking about either artists that we want to work with, or, you know, if someone has sent over, you know, a sketch or a piece of art, then just talking through any notes or anything like that. So it really does change from day to day, and it's hard to kind of say what the typical day looks like right now, but it's meetings and Zoom calls.
What do the Mondo offices look like? Is there, like, I don't know, is there a foosball table? Is there a swimming pool, gym area? I don't know. Art station.
It recently changed, you know, and to kind of give you the brief history of what the Mondo offices look like when I started back in 2011, our office was underneath one of the theaters at the Alamo Draft House, literally underneath like the stadium seating. We affectionately call it the Hobbit hole, but it was maybe about 50 feet long and like 6 to 7 feet wide. And out of that 7-foot width, 3 of those feet you had to be crunched over, or, you know, hunched over to just, you couldn't stand up straight. And that's where we did all the shipping, all the customer service, you know, that's where all of our inventory was. And so for my time, you know, we were in there for a couple months, and then we moved into the gallery at the start of I think 2012, 2013, thereabouts. And then we did all of our operations out of the gallery. You know, same thing, that's where all of our shipping and customer service was. We'd have to clear out all the tubes and all of the everything whenever we would have a gallery show. So there was some kind of maneuvering and playing with the Tetris pieces whenever gallery shows would come out. And that was a lot of fun.
The Alamos Timed Edition for Dark Knight that was shipped out at the gallery, and that there's a photo of just a crazy amount of tubes.
Yeah, that was an edition of, like, it was still our largest time edition. It was about 9,000
Crazy.
posters. So we had, just tubes and tubes and tubes filling the entire gallery space. But yeah, so we the gallery space was our home base for a bit. Then I think 2014, 2015, we moved into a more kind of traditional office space where there was a front office that we kind of, that's where people like me were just sitting on computers all the time, and then we had all of our shipping and logistics in the back and like the warehouse space, but that gave us some room to, when we moved in there, we were just like, oh man, we are never going to outgrow this. This is all the space we need in the world. That proved to not be the case pretty quickly once we started doing more records and doing toys and tikis and things like that. We quickly just even outgrew that, so then we had moved in. There's an old furniture building that had opened up across the street, that became our new kind of warehouse space and our logistics operations, and we were there for a couple years. Right before the pandemic, we kind of moved in. The Alamo Draft House, their home base of operations, they had moved into this old school, I think it was an old high school, but it's called Baker, and that's their new headquarters. That's and we kind of moved in there, and now we take over the library of that school. So the library is kind of our new office, and then we have a space in there that we're shipping posters out of as well. But yeah, as far as like any fun stuff, we've had fun stuff in the past, but fun is what you make it. I was actually just talking with Justin Brookhart a couple of days ago, and I found this video in our old office where we were just like, we made these stress balls several years ago, and we would just throw them across the office and try and catch them in poster tubes. So there's, if Justin and I were on minutes to win it, we would absolutely win. Like we are just like kings of gamifying anything. So yeah, there's fun stuff like that. The dream is to have a shuffleboard table. We're big fans of shuffleboard at Mondo.
Who's the best shuffleboard player?
We'd love Rob. Who's the best shuffleboard player?
I've got the most trophies, so I guess me.
We did a shuffleboard.
But I've been beat by those two.
A couple of years ago, after MondoCon, we would get all the artists together. Something that Mike Mitchell and Rob here would orchestrate, but they'd pull all the artists together, and we'd go spend a couple of days outside of Austin and just rent a space and have fun for a couple of days. And one of the places we went to had a shuffleboard table, so we had a big tournament that year, and Brookhart and I ended up winning. We beat Rob, and I forget who his partner was. It Brian? Who? Jenny. It was Rob and Jenny, his wife.
I was Link. I effed up.
So yeah,
it's a picture of them holding the trophy. Me in the background, just going my usual face.
And then we did a shuffleboard tournament and at Comic-Con one year that Rob won. So yeah, that stuff's always fun. Before there is a ping pong table at the school that myself and a few of my coworkers, Shannon and Thomas, were frequenting a lot before moving to lockdown. So yeah, there's some fun stuff to take your mind off the grind of work.
So to be honest with you, it's kind of cool just because it's an old high school. I mean, you're literally the halls are lined with lockers and stuff.
Okay,
it's really weird.
Yeah,
and our office is the old library, so the windows are like factory huge. Like
it's beautiful too. They restored everything, so like all the wood is original wood.
Nice.
It's a really, really beautiful space. And we have Mondo stuff on the walls and on the shelves and stuff. So it's fun. It's a great space, and I think we're looking forward to being back in there whenever.
Yeah, I had fun. Like when I was in school, the school where I went to was almost 100 years old. It's like an old building. So that was kind of cool. And then my university was in Potsdam, which is like 45 minutes like south of Berlin. And it used to be in the castle Sanssouci. So I basically got my education in a castle, in an old castle.
I'm so jealous of you Europeans.
Yeah.
We have We have none.
Yeah, I know, but we have cool stuff though.
If a school gets to be like 90 years old here, they tear it down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's this beautiful thing called Cass Tech in Detroit. Is this gorgeous building, and 10 years for the 100th name day, there's a beautiful song about it by Mattiel. It's weird. It's about the destruction of a building, but it'll make you cry every time. It's like this, the saddest thing. Just not appreciate not only the history, but just the beauty of it too. Is marble and copper and gorgeous.
Was there any? Were there any historical landmarks that were used as part of the school at SCAD, Rob?
The whole campus was scattered historical buildings. They had a whole department that was just dedicated to restoring historical joints. So they would buy like the house for wayward mothers from like the 1910s, and that would become the computer department, like the armory of where they used to keep all the cannonballs and stuff. That was the main building.
That's probably the closest thing we have. Approximations like that. Like I went to Savannah for our honeymoon, and Rob went to school there and spent a couple years there, and he gave a couple recommendations. But that's one of my. I've been dying to go back. Honestly, it's one of my favorite cities in the world. It's so old, so littered with history. Literally, like the entire city used to be just a graveyard. So we did a couple ghost tours, and they were like, yeah, anywhere you walk in the city, there's bodies just buried because they overflowed at the cemeteries, so they just buried them wherever, and they never relocated them. So yeah, there's so much, at least as far as American history. That's one of the oldest cities in the country, and there's just so much to take in there. I loved it.
It's beautiful. Good Lord, I'd love to retire there.
Yeah, I was like,
there's an Irish bar there that serves haggis.
There you go.
I know it's Scottish, doesn't matter. Scottish, guess what? This haggis, it tastes very authentic in that it's terrible but delicious.
Yeah, I was like, in the small town where I grew up, we have like this one old, it's like a, it's not a cathedral building, but it's like, they call it, I don't know, is there an American word? Like, they call it dome is the wrong word, but I don't know. It's like something, it's not a church building, it's something.
Basilica?
Maybe it's a cathedral, but I'm not sure. But it's not that big. But it's like very old. But it's like probably, I think it was from the 1100s, so it's very old. And my grandma, she used to live in the smallest house of the town when she was younger. And we went there. When I was born, she moved out. But my mom, she used to go there multiple times when she was still living there, and like the doors were so small, and the house was so small. I couldn't stand up in the regular rooms. It's that small. It's like wow. Really crazy.
They're going to tell me it's from 1100, and you're like, and that's our video. that correct. That's the bill we just keep the Pac-Mans at, man. It doesn't matter. It's for kids. The doors are so small. It's perfect for them.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on, I wanted to know how's your approach on a project? I mean, you have ideas, come up with it, but how do you realize them? How you go about that?
You hope that what gets turned in is perfect, and if it isn't, then you work back and forth with the artist until hopefully it approaches it with whatever time you have available to you. That's all there is. It just depends on the talents involved.
Okay, and what time process do we look at?
It varies.
From 2 years to 2 days. No joke.
Some folks are quicker than others, and some studios are faster than others. So it is hard to. There's not a one size fits all. It really does change from project to project, and it depends on the deadline. If it's something, for example, if it's something that we're trying to get done, for like a Comic-Con or Frightmare or a specific event, then we'll relay those timelines up front and let people know beforehand. But it really does change. Like Rob said, there's a couple posters in our past that, for one reason or another, whether that be just approval lag times or whatever, some have taken a year to 18 months to see the light of day. But one of the things that we always like to say is that projects never really die at Mondo. If something, even if it never comes out, we'll find hopefully we'll find some way to resurrect it, or we'll see something through to make sure it does come out. We're big on not canceling anything and not letting anything go unnoticed. At least we try to be.
What's the motto? The Drowned King in Game of Thrones? That what dies can never. Well, that what is dead can never die. I think the point is, he's right though. We have so much stuff that's been resurrected. Yeah. It's crazy. If you actually went through the full amount, it's kind of nutty. And by bigger artists, you'd think like that Ken Taylor, No Country for Old Men. That was like a 3-year thing, I think, right? Crazy.
Yeah.
Ken's like Rambo too. It's like a 2-3-year thing.
Yeah. And the example we always bring up, at least as far as recency, is Martin Anson's Man Who Fell to Earth, which ultimately, I think objectively, I think we've said this a couple times, but like that's everybody at Mondo's kind of favorite Mondo poster. At least if we think of like, what our favorite is, it's all top 3 for sure. If not top, the top of the top, it's Martin Anson's Man Who Fell to Earth. And that's a poster that took probably 1.5 years, 2 years to come out, just due to it timed out around when we were working on that Bowie passed, so maybe that had an impact on it, just kind of navigating some stuff around the estate. But that's one that we're so thankful was able to actually come out. But that that one took a minute, and we just kept pushing and hoping that it would come out, and it did.
Okay. And I wondered how's it with the licenses? Is that always hard to acquire licenses, or do you also buy them, or do you approach the studio and ask for something? How's it with that?
Let me lay it out for you completely. First, we got a guy named Tim Weish, and he's a wizard, and that's the end of that, because I really don't want to tell other people how to do it.
Sure,
that's true.
Enough fools ruining licenses as it is.
Yeah, but
but
do you have multiple licenses at the same time, or how is that? By the way, I mean.
Yeah. We're in a privileged position to have a lot of different licenses, or various different licenses, and I will say it's a bit, I don't want to say easier, but we're in a different spot, 7-8 years into the game than we were at the start. We have kind of a history to show people this is what we do, and this is kind of what we would like to do with your titles or with your properties or anything like that. So it's easier to point to people, look, Disney likes us, Marvel likes us, stuff like that. But to answer the question, we have a good amount of licenses for a wide variety, like we were talking about earlier. We have movies, we have TV, video games, so really anything that we're a fan of, things that we're excited about, if we can do something officially, we try to.
It is getting more difficult, though, I have to admit. They're getting more restrictive, I think, as it becomes more of a popular medium. And Weish finds himself having to basically go further and further into the jungle to maybe find some hidden gems.
Yeah, understandable. I mean, that's it's the hobby is getting bigger and bigger for people out there and collectors, so understandable. What would you say was the most challenging idea over the years for you in terms of working on it? Or the most challenging project?
I don't know if this would constitute as challenging, but one that we wanted to really be sure that we got right was Matthew Woodson's 2001: A Space Odyssey. That's if you're familiar with the poster, the monolith on it is knocked out, so you can see the paper. It's not ink, it's the actual paper type that represents kind of the color of the monolith. And we wanted something as close to Van to black as we can get, just something that completely sucked in any and all Lacus black that you could get. We didn't want to do black paper or black ink or anything.
Yeah.
And Ali Whalen was really instrumental in kind of helping source just a great, it's not true Vanta black, but it's damn near close, closest thing that you could find, that works for our purposes for screen, that you can screen print on and make it effective. But that's one that like I said, I don't know if challenging is the word, but that's one that we spent a lot of time making sure we got right and did, as close to perfect as we could get, because it's Kubrick, right? It's 2001, and it's Matthew Woodson, and he was really hands-on with kind of coming in, and we went through a couple rounds of just like getting different examples of different paper types and him coming in and checking them and stuff like that. And so yeah, that's one that we took a lot of precaution on.
Yeah, that's right. We did make a valiant effort of trying to do Vanta Black, but it'd have to be like a metal substrate. It's got to be baked on. It was so much stuff. And then even if they would agree to have it used on your art project, right now initially one guy has the rights to use it in art, at least back in the day when we were doing it.
Yeah.
So if they're competitors, we tried to go with them, see if there was actually maybe something that's not so horrible to apply, could just be something that could be screened on, and that wouldn't work either. So we eventually just filled the paper. Like Eric said, Allie found some amazing papers we had never even heard of.
Yeah.
What's it called? Chromolux paper? I can't remember. It's something strange.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of...
So, and that was...
Oh, sorry.
Turned out perfect. Oh, no.
Yeah,
that's it.
Speaking of paper, is there like a certain paper you love? Like that's your go-to paper, basically.
French lemon drop, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, a lot of our paper is French paper company. I'd say 90% or more comes from French. But really, I think. And if Mitch were here, he'd probably roll his eyes. But it's usually Rob and I that are the ones that are like, "What if we do this on X paper or Y paper?" But we always just try and choose the paper that, if it makes sense for the project or the title, and if it's a fun bonus, even if every square inch is going to be covered by ink, Rob and I are always just like, "Yeah, but if it's in the frame, that the backside is on colored paper, and that's worth it." But yeah, so it's not a one size fits all answer on that either. It's always just like, here's a good paper that fits the color, or that fits the title that resonates kind of thematically or what. But it changes.
Okay, I see.
That's true. That's an actual argument we've had to have with Mitch, where we're like, yeah, it's going to be awesome. You take it out of the tube and you see that the back of the poster is this color. It's going to be amazing. It's going to seem like an amazing experience for people because they have no idea that's coming. And Mitch is like, really? We're paying an extra $2 to make this poster for that 2 seconds of experience. We're like, yeah.
Even something like foil, right? Foil is something that we try not to do too often, and that if we are going to do it, we want to make sure we're using it right and we're using it correctly. I think Martin Anson is like a prime example of knowing how to use foil the right way. His Ghost in the Shell poster, his recent Star Wars poster, he does it so it highlights and accentuates, and he's so smart in the way that he lets the paper show through in the art and the way it balances, so it's not just this foil. It's not a comic book cover from the 90s, right? It's thoughtful and that's.
It's such an easy thing to do, and it seems so strange. Other folks don't seem to latch onto that. It's rare that I see it applied.
Like foil?
Recent tip I can think of is, I think Bonix put out a Lord of the Rings poster with a big
Dolly. That's Dolly.
And it was like perfectly done.
Yeah, that's
really
perfect.
Weird. So serious, but someone took a perfect shot of it. Whoever took this moving shot, it was really because it caught the gleam, went all the way around the ring. Like I was like, good Lord, was it special?
Yeah. That was a really good
less
for
more,
sure.
Really.
Yeah, exactly. I saw a video of that. Somebody took a video from the poster in hand, and the foil and the ring looks like the actual ring from the movie. It looks exactly like it. It's crazy.
It looked like it was floating.
Yeah.
It was nuts.
That was a really good use.
Dolly. He's a good guy. He's been on the show as well, and he's actually 2 minutes ago, as we're speaking right now and recording, because I have it's called The Bounty Puck. It's a Mandalorian review and analysis show for all the Mandalorian episodes. And Dolly was just on, and it was just released for last week's episode, The Heiress, and we nerded out a little bit, so that was really fun.
Are you enjoying season 2?
I am, but I wonder where it's going, because it's similar beats so far, like season 1. But I think season 1 worked because it was new. Rob has to go, I think.
No, Rob, he hasn't caught up on season 2 yet, so he's ignoring spoilers.
Okay, I'm not spoiling. Don't worry. I know how that is. But yeah, I think its story beats are kind of similar. And I think it worked for season 1 in that way because it was new. And I think now it's getting more into that filler territory.
Have you seen today's episode?
Of course I did.
I haven't watched it yet. That's my Friday night plan.
Good. It's good. I'm not going to say anything, but
we might start this weekend, but my wife and I wanted to save a few because we know as soon as we start, it's going to be too tough to wait a week. So we just want to make sure we can. Once we start putting the heroin in our veins, we want to make sure we have a nice, plenty of bags.
Yeah.
One after the other.
Yeah. Actually, I'm. So if somebody of you guys want to jump on, because I'm looking for somebody for this week's episode to be our guest nerd of the week and review that with us.
You should get Spence. He's the biggest Star Wars nerd of all Mondo.
Yep.
Yeah, Spence.
Todd Slater.
Make it happen. Connect me.
Yeah.
Everybody in the cantina.
There you go.
I'll ask Spence if he's interested, but I know he loves The Mandalorian. Literally after last week's episode, he was like, I think it was like week by week. It's bringing back his love for Star Wars because he was a huge Star Wars fan, growing up. And still will watch everything. He saw Solo in theaters like 9 times or something like that.
Yeah, I've seen it 4 times.
Yeah.
I don't know why people pretend that it's bad. It's the greatest thing ever.
Yeah,
I think in hindsight, that movie really elevated.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think at least for me, what in a world where episode 9 exists, I'm like, man, Solo is a pretty entertaining and good movie, and that's clearly a feat.
I still have to say, I mean, Rogue One, it got very good box office numbers, but I think Rogue One is still underrated. I love the cinematography in that one. It's just brilliant.
Yeah, I agree. That kind of gritty, like ground level Star Wars it's what I like about Mandalorian.
Exactly.
It's like seeing the fringe corners of like that world that we all love. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh yeah, it's really cool seeing it from this perspective.
Yeah, and I love
But it's writing though, man. Rogue One, I think again, I know this is old hat, but I didn't care about any of those people except for the robot was the only person I cared about. Even Mads was in it. So it's not acting. I didn't care about Mads. I was like, ugh, this guy. But I don't know.
It's okay.
Solo, I cared about it. I cared pretty much about everybody, except for Emilia Clarke, probably.
Yeah, Emilia Clarke. I was annoyed by her too. But yeah, Mandalorian is great. So yeah, keep on continuing the story. But I love all the little details from the Star Wars world that Filoni brings in with Clone Wars and Rebels. I think that's just brilliant. So.
Yeah. I never watched Clone Wars.
Oh my God, you should, buddy. It's a great show. I mean, okay, hold up. I'll roll it back. Not everything is great. There's some weird episodes you don't have to see, but there's I think like around 20. What was it, like 15 episode arcs? Most arcs are like 2 to 3 episodes, and I think those are definitely worth it through all the seasons. And last season, the 7th, is just one of the best Star Wars I've seen.
There's enough praise for it for sure that my interest is piqued. I should go back and check it out, and especially whenever I watch a new episode of Mandalorian, I'll just Google like a quick review just to see what other people thought and stuff, and seeing oh man, they brought in this character from Clone Wars, or they brought in this animated version, or character that exists in the animated series, and I can only imagine how exciting that is for people that love that show to see a live action representation and kind of bridge those 2 worlds together. That's awesome.
Yeah, Rob is going, what is going on?
No, I was thinking because even in episode 8 they had ships even from Clone Wars that were introduced. I mean, it's weird how often that Clone Wars has been made and recognized as canon. Yeah. When so much old canon has been dropped by.
I mean, and Rebels had it.
That speaks to the quality of this. What I'm saying.
Rebels had in Thrawn, which is one of my favorite Star Wars characters. I have all the Thrawn books that came out. I have the action figure, and it's like I love Thrawn. He's like one of my favorite characters from the expanded universe when it came out. And sadly, that it's now all legends, but. Good thing is they at least take some stuff from the time that I basically grew up with. So I'm happy. Like one of my favorite Star Wars characters is Darth Bane from the Bane novels. Like there was 3 of them, and Bane is such a brilliantly written book, and I love this character so much, and they put him back in, I think it's Clone Wars, and I think it was the last episode or the almost last from the 6th season, I think it was. And yeah, they had him in as a voice, so he's credited definitely. Mark Hamill spoke him, and so there's a door and there's a world that this can be a movie at some point. So
yeah.
Did you read the Star Wars comics, Tom?
Which one, Dr. Aphra, or what are we talking? I read a bunch of them. Vader,
any of the old classic kind of Dark Horse books?
Yeah. The Old Republic are my favorites with Revan and all of that. Those are amazing.
I was just gonna make a recommendation. I don't know if you are a comics reader or a collector or anything like that, but
I think I have all the Star Wars comics that are out.
Marvel. Do you have the Epic collections?
Is that the one with a future, or which one?
So Marvel, excuse me here. Marvel has this line called Epic Collections.
Okay, yeah, okay. Mm-hmm.
They're standard trade size, but it's all these books and it's all chronological order, stuff like
okay.
that. But they have a full Star Wars line of epics, and it's by now they probably have like 20 plus books or volumes or whatever.
Yeah. But it's basically the single series in one book, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I got all the single series, so I don't have the big one.
You have all the singles. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's all collected. I got a lot of digital stuff like saving room and so on, but it's still in the collection, and I've read most of it. I have listened to every Star Wars audiobook that came out, every one. So
that's great, man.
Mitch is telling me someone's been doing that. He knows some. He's a friend of the Norris who's been doing that lately too. They've been buying the audiobooks for Star Wars and listening to them.
It's great.
Like the old ones on tape.
Yeah.
Like it hunting them down.
Yeah, I got like 110 or 120 now, or somewhere around there. Maybe it's a little bit more now.
Like Tales from the Cantina kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then they have like the stuff that is like that plays like 20,000 years before. So that's fun.
Yeah, I read Dune.
Yeah, there you go. But speaking of Dune, how did you guys like the Matt Griffin Dune poster?
Look cool.
Did you like it?
Yeah, look cool.
I was happy it wasn't gigantic sandworm too much.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Because the thing is, unfortunately, you get the greatest of those renditions. I think is the Der Wanderwurst Planter or something. The German big Dune poster from '84. Mm-hmm. It's got a really nice, huge sandworm that's kind of like in the same position as the God Emperor Dune cover.
Yeah.
And it's a hard depiction of a sandworm to beat. So when people go outside of just straight sandworm depictions, I mean, I know he's got the 3 at the bottom, but just having the dream image.
Yeah.
That was a nice choice. I was glad to see him go off the beaten path, but I'm very picky about Dune.
Okay. By the way, I had I think the third episode I did of the podcast was with Greg Ruth, and he mentioned multiple times that he wanted to do a Dune, the new one, a poster with you guys. So yes. just remember that, and
we're well aware of his love of Dune.
Yeah, I heard he calls a bunch of times, and you screen his calls.
I don't know if we're screening calls. Greg will email us, and we love getting an email from Greg. But yeah, he's definitely reached out to us and let us know about Dune.
Yeah, great. So yeah, but he told me back then, and I promised that I will. If I talk to you guys, I will remind you.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm excited to see the new one, I can say, but I don't know if I was Greg, if I was anybody, I think I'd want to wait and see it first, really, to just. I think it's the only way to benefit for that movie, especially. I don't think you can go vague there and just guess.
Yeah.
Especially they're saying that the sandworm's not going to appear to the end of the movie. I mean, good Lord, I can't imagine the pacing of this first thing.
They said that? I didn't read that, but yeah, interesting.
Apparently, Dr. Kynes has got a huge role. There's going to be a lot more of him explain to Paul, like, the life cycle of the sandworm and of the little makers and that kind of stuff. And how spice is actually made.
There you go.
Stuff they didn't do. So it's going to be a slower burn, apparently. They're going to really try to follow through with multiple movies.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll see. I have a couple questions from people that follow my blog on Instagram, and they asked if I'm gonna put it out next week on Thursday. It will be it will be interesting because he asked about Black Friday. Is there gonna be any Black Friday stuff going on? Shenanigans. Was it last year the archive sale on Black Friday, or when was that?
Yeah. Last year we did the big archive flat file sale. That's kind of become what we've done, a couple of times over the last couple of years. And we're not doing that this year. I'll tell you that. We're doing site-wide free shipping, and we're still figuring out if there's another plan. We're trying to get something ready for release around the Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend. But as of now, as of recording, it's still, we're trying to get approval on it. So, hopefully, fingers crossed, it all pans out. But we're trying. If it doesn't, then then it doesn't. But yeah, we
have a backup plan to the backup plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
So probably not Black Friday, and it's not going to be a flat file sale or anything like that. We'll try and have a couple new posters or a new poster, probably closer to Cyber Monday instead of Black Friday.
Okay. Cool. And another question was, are there any? Do you plan on any, like, doing more store locations in the future?
At the moment, no. We actually closed our gallery a few months ago. And literally the reason for that was just COVID and all of that. So, if and when.
But was it a plan before, maybe?
It wasn't. No, it wasn't really a plan. No, that it wasn't premeditated or anything like that. It was just, things are
all that.
Times is tough. So down the road, who knows? Never say never. There will still be gallery shows, whether we have our own kind of brick and mortar permanent Mondo gallery. That's kind of TBD, but we definitely still want to have gallery shows to some capacity. Maybe a pop-up, maybe a partnership or a collab with another kind of existing space. But yeah, so I don't know. It's kind of hard to see past right now. When everything's going to return back to normal or whatever it's going to look like on the other side of this. So, we're hopeful, but definitely we're still going to be planning in-person events in one way or another.
We might have a show at the Vacuum Gallery. Who knows? Up in Minnesota.
There you go.
Yeah. So in one way or another, Mondo's always been built on in-person events and kind of having that human-to-human connection. So we'll do it somehow, but it's just kind of hard to say if we're going to have a permanent space again.
If 2020 was the year of Godzilla, what would 2021 be then?
The year of Hedera.
That's a good question. And honestly, that's something that we're still just kind of talking about internally. Every couple weeks, we have a bi-weekly meeting with our creative team, with the music team and the board games and collectibles and stuff. And that's every meeting we're talking about, what are we planning? What do we want to do? Next month, next year, next week, in some cases. So I think we're still kind of figuring out. We have some fun things planned for the first part of 2021. Back in July for Comic-Con, we announced that we're doing something with A24, and that's probably gonna roll over into 2021 instead of coming out sometime before the end of the year. There we have some cool things planned, but that's a great question as far as like overall what's a good theme. TBD.
All right, we're gonna hear back on that, definitely. I will report.
I don't know. I was gonna say maybe not so much for posters, but 2021 might actually still be a Godzilla year for other departments, because we've got some amazing collectible news on the Godzilla front that our boys in collectibles, Mikey and Hector, have been talking about on their own podcasts. We got some Safubis coming up for Godzilla. We're like one of the only joints in America who are given the license to make soft vinyl Godzilla.
Yeah, is the tech did Attack Peter do something for that lately? What did you announce something?
They announced a partnership. Yeah, we're going to work with him, or Hector and Mike are going to work with him, and he's going to design a Godzilla figure. Yeah,
that's great.
They have a line of Godzilla, basically Godzillas that haven't been made before, but like they did the Hanna-Barbera Godzilla, for example, as a statue, which is amazing. No one's ever done it. The old animated one from the 70s.
Yeah.
And they're making our first Fedora figure, which is going to come in some amazing colorways. And has there been any other department announcements, Eric?
Yeah, back during Comic-Con, the music team hinted and teased, all but confirmed. I think we have some Toho partnerships in the works as well. So, yeah, I think Godzilla for sure is going to roll over into 2021. We still are charting on with Tom Whalen and Attack Peter, and then other artists that did posters earlier in the year are doing follow-ups as well. So yeah, Godzilla will continue to be a big part of next year.
That's something we could actually tease. There'll be a follow-up from Shan.
Yeah, Shan.
There you go. Perfect.
If people are going, man, these show-up posters are nice, but there's other eras of Godzilla. Don't worry, Shan's got you covered.
There you go.
There's a few. There's another artist that, almost in the same. Another artist that we haven't worked with that has done just amazing Godzilla work. James Stokoe.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. He did this great comic called Godzilla and the Half-Century War, and it's so good. And he's such a talented artist, and we're working with him on a poster that we're super excited about.
You realize we're guaranteeing that Mitch will be sure to, no matter how sick he is, show up, because we're just totally teasing without the covering over. Hey, cut it out.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll be a good year. We're looking forward to it, and yeah, it's gonna continue to be fun.
There's going to be a lot of movies that we've never done posters for coming out next year.
That's always good.
Actually, that's what it's going to be. It's not so much going to be Godzilla year. It's going to be the X year, because there's going to be so many, I guess this is the first time they've done that, and the first time they've done this. And they're good, big movies. They're surprisingly
great. I'm looking forward to it. And speaking of 2021, is there going to be a MondoCon?
Oh, wow. That's a super good question. And I think someone asked us this on one of our last happy hours that we did, and honestly, that's super hard to answer.
Let's say COVID is getting better with the vaccine and all. And I heard, by the way, today that America put it on a fast track with the vaccine. So
fingers crossed, and it's hard to answer when. I mean, MondoCon is what a couple hundred people all together. It's hard to say when we're going to be at a spot where hundreds of people can be in a room together. Even if there is a vaccine. So that's a really hard one to answer. And I will say that the plan was to do MondoCon in 2021. The plan was to make it a biannual event and do it every other year. So next year lines up, and that's for a lot of reasons. That's for logistical reasons. That's for scheduling reasons. As far as where we do it here in Austin, and we just have to book a venue so far in advance to get on their calendar, especially in the fall. The fall in Austin is a really difficult time because we have Formula One, we have Austin City Limits. There's a lot of just festivals that are going on or in town that make it kind of hard to book out a venue that meets our needs and capacities and things like that. So yeah, and honestly, I don't know if we can even talk with those sort of institutions right now about hey, can we get on your calendar for September, October 2021, because they don't know either. So
I'm totally understand.
That's something that we're not. Yeah, that's a way longer way of saying I don't know, and we're already just preliminarily talking about okay, are we gonna start planning for a San Diego online Comic-Con again? Because I don't think we're all gonna be going out to San Diego in July, either. So yeah, I think a lot of people are facing those sorts of questions. We're not the only ones by any stretch of the imagination. So that. Right now, it's a real just who knows? But I hope, we're dying to get to do it again. We love MondoCon, and that's like the funnest weekend ever. So hopefully, but
if it happens.
Other thing too, artists just being able to wanting to come too. We might want to have it, but you also got to make it artists more than most. I think are very cautious.
Yeah,
very lockdowny.
Yeah. If it's happening, please put it on a fall break for me so I could actually come.
Yeah, again, our hands are sort of tied on timelines, and it's just because there's a lot going on in the city around that time. So
I know. I mean, just so you know, as your wife being a teacher, you know that she can only take off time when there's a break.
Yeah. When is your
most of the time it's like in the middle to end of October, like 2 weeks. I have 2 weeks fall break. So
yeah, we usually try and keep it around October, around like September, October. I like it being in October, November, just because the weather in Austin is a bit more manageable around that time. People think, for whatever reason, people feel like they would like to line up and spend all that time outside, and the weather in Austin can be pretty brutal during the summer months and the first half of the year. So we like to try and do it like in the fall, where that way it's not 100+ degrees.
Alrighty, and there's one more question on the drop. You rolled out the drop this year, right? It was this year, yeah. How do you see that it is going? Is it a success so far? Is it something, or is it just doesn't make a difference at all?
I think for the most part we don't have any issues with it, and anytime, like anything, there's kinks to iron out, right? And that's something that we try and keep an eye on. At least people on the team that are far more knowledgeable on the tech side of things than I am keep an eye on to make sure that it runs as smoothly as possible. But I think for the most part the effectiveness of it is working. I like that we moved to scheduled drop times instead of the random times, and I think for the most part people appreciate that we say it's happening at 11 local time instead of some nebulous whenever. But yeah, as far as the function of it, a couple hiccups aside, at least from my perspective, I think it works, but I think I have to defer to the feedback of the people. And again, outside of a few mistakes or a few missteps, I think it's working out. We don't.
The main thing was just to save time, because people are bitching so much about, man, I've been up all morning F5ing for 3 hours, and then I get shut out. This is BS. I can't waste my whole morning, and there's no guarantee. So this way, hey, you know exactly when to show up. You get lucky, great. If you don't, we didn't waste that much of your time. I just don't see us going back, because that seems to be such a great advantage. You can try, and if you get it, great. If not, we'll tell you when to come back.
How's it, by the way? I've seen a couple galleries do that they, for example, when they see that it pops up on eBay or something like that, and that they cancel it in like afterwards, and that like some allocations become available again. Is that a thing you do, or is that too much work because there's too many people and too much stuff going on?
That sounds like someone with a lot of time on their hands, man.
We definitely cancel like duplicate orders. Anytime we do a release, if someone didn't listen to the rules and got more than one, we will cancel those, and occasionally we will put them back on sale. Or if someone, there's also situations where if people email us and say, hey, I really wanted this, I missed out, if we have one to offer, we'll offer it.
We want to. Now it's going to be even more email.
I know.
I'm going to cut that out.
But also, our flop house sale, sometimes that's where they'd come from. It'd be the like 3 or 4, like up.
Majority, that's where the flat file sale comes from. If we cancel anything, we hang on to it, and we will sell it in a flat file, or we will sell it, elsewhere down the road. But yeah, I mean, we're doing what we can to make sure these are getting into the right hands and the people that are actually going to appreciate them.
One more thing, definitely, before I forget to say that. The shipping department. It's a little hint. I don't know if that's possible, but you're the only guys where I have to pay customs. that's like it's a lot on top of the shipping. I think the Think UK as well. And when it comes to Germany, for example, the Anson one, it was 20 euros on top, just customs. And I never have that with other galleries. It just happens with Mondo. I don't know if there's anything, because I think it's the worth that you put in for the poster that.
You mean we don't lie and put in a lower worth? Yeah, no, because then when someone goes, I lost the poster, you owe me money for some reason. I'm like, we said it's $5. I mean, I'm not going to lie. That's insane. That's a bad business practice.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that said, I'll do that for myself when I'm shipping out posters that I sell personally. Sure. But when you're a business, I don't think you can do. I think you have to be responsible. Otherwise, it can come back and bite you. A great example of that. Yeah, I can say their name. Todd Slater, my good friend, used to undervalue the weight so he could save on shipping. And he did that for many years. And then one day, the Postal Service said, "Hey, we realize you've been doing this. Here's a bill."
Oh.
And he got kind of stuck. Over the long run, though, he still made out like a bandit because they gave him like a bill for like maybe 6 months or 8 months of this, but he'd been doing it for like years. But yeah, when you're a legit business, you can't really operate like that. That's not
I won't say that's not happened to us as well. I mean, we have some eyes, a bit more eyes on us. That we do everything on.
Sure, I just wanted to know, like, because like it's like for example, not for example, but like it's like always hard, compared to the States side. That I mean, you have to do the shipping. Obviously, it costs a lot, and then customs on top is like always like a lot of money on the end for the European crowd, I'd say, and it's like stings a little bit.
At the same time, we're selling Batman the Animated Series posters by Justin Erickson for $45.
Yeah, it's.
We know we can sell them for $100 and still.
I know. I'm not saying that's.
Yeah. Well, listen. I just don't think people realize we could build into the price if we wanted. But one thing we do like doing is trying to make this as affordable as possible. Because again, like Eric said, we come from the gig. Go to a show, pick up a gig poster. 10 years later, oh my God, this gig poster is worth $500. This Pearl Jam poster I bought. What happened?
Yeah, I totally understand it. I totally understand it from a business point and everything. But it's just like sometimes it's like for example, I didn't expect it. Because like sometimes for some reason they don't deduct customs. Like for example, there was the timed edition for Jock's Return of the Jedi. I didn't have to pay custom on that one, but then the Empire Strikes Back one by Jock I had to, and the Martin Anson I had to as well. It's like weird. I don't know why sometimes it's taxes and sometimes it's not, and I just wondered,
Yeah, I'm
As
not
my
sure
wife
on that
tells me
either.
every morning, beauty comes at a cost.
I'm not sure on that either, but I'm definitely gonna share this feedback with our logistics team and see, try and get an answer on that. We can talk offline about it.
Yeah,
as
sure.
Well.
I'm just wondering. I mean, it happens. So because I see it always also in the groups. People say, oh, they love the poster and everything is cool, but this always like gets stuck. It gets stuck in customs, and customs comes on top of that. And it's like, I don't know. It's like crazy. And for some other stuff, it doesn't. It's like weird.
I've noticed I've gotten packages take a long time for English.
Yeah,
too.
That's true. I heard that
Personally, like 2 months. Sometimes it'll be like 2 months. I'm like, dude, I'll refund you if you want me to, but it still says it's in transit. And then 2 months later, they're like, okay.
Okay, so there's a lot of talk about poster and their shipping. So I wanted to give you guys a chance to finish it out in style and give shout-outs to your friends, family, fellow artists, co-workers, whoever you want. You both have a chance. Who wants to start?
I will start. I think about that. I'd like to shout out to Jennifer Jones, my wife, Captain Sensible, Jack and Meg, and God. That's it. Thank you. That was a great time.
Okay, this is time. Play the music. Okay, Eric, your turn.
I'm gonna follow Rob's suit and shout out my wife, Allie, who has not who's lovingly put up with me during this lockdown and hasn't wanted to kill me yet, or at least hasn't killed me yet. But yeah, and then honestly, just everybody at Mondo, our whole crew, and really everybody in the world. This is a shout out to everybody in the world. If you are making it through what the world and what the pandemic and quarantine and lockdown is giving you right now, fucking bravo. Pat yourself on the back, give yourself a high five, allow yourself to feel shitty if you feel shitty, and feel happy if you feel happy. So yeah, I just want to shout out everybody that is making it every day right now. And shout out Tom. Thank you for having us on.
It's my pleasure. And we forgot somebody. Mitch Putnam, our spirit animal in this case here. Shout out to Mitch, who couldn't make it today, but he was here in spirit. I definitely feel it, and he will definitely love this interview. And yeah, thank you guys for coming on. It's been really a pleasure. Thank you to all the viewers and listeners out there. And tune in for our next episode, and also subscribe to the podcast on @DropMagOfficial on Instagram and on our YouTube channel, DropMag. See you soon, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.